Top favorite music artists, and where do you take inspiration from your music? And this is asked from Known. Oh, well, I played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog when I was a kid, so those tunes got kind of stuck in my brain. One game, Sonic Spinball, it wasn't necessarily the best game in the world, but I would play it just for the music, especially the boss theme when you fight Dr. Robotnik. It has this really rockin' bass line and these industrial drums, and just the textures and sounds in that song are really grimy and kind of farty sounding, like it sounds cool. I like how the old video game composers worked within limitations. They only had so much memory to work with and so many channels for instruments, and also the songs could only be so long, so they'd loop a lot. Some of the songs were like a minute or less, so they really had to make a song that was, one, catchy, but two, also not the type of thing that gets stuck in your head and you regret it getting stuck in your head. It was catchy but had lots of replay value. So I really admire the classic retro video game soundtracks. And my favorite band is Radiohead. Flying Squirrels asks, how proud of yourself are you? And what motivates you to do what you do, like animating and music? Do you find it therapeutic? My levels of self-esteem fluctuate, so how proud I am of myself you could get a very different response one day versus another day. I normally just feel guilty if I'm not working on something. So I suppose when I do self-reflect, it's when I'm not working on something, and therefore my sense of self is pretty low. My opinion of myself is fairly low. So then I feel anxious to get back to work on a project. Once I start getting lost in a project, I lose my sense of self. So I find that very therapeutic to not have to consider how I relate to others. I think that's a big basis of one's identity, is comparing and contrasting yourself to others. And not having to make that distinction is a big relief, to just become so engrossed in any one activity, be it walking or drawing a picture or playing a song, that feels like the most authentic expression of myself, which is sort of a paradox because this authentic expression of myself is the time where I'm least aware of myself. So I'm never really proud of myself in the conventional sense of, looking back at one's accomplishments or anything like that and feeling a sense of pride. It's more just a sense of anxiety. Archie asks, was there any uncertainty you felt as you got older and thought seriously about having a creative career? Do you feel like you had some type of defining aha moment where you realized, yes, this is what I want to do? Oh yeah, I feel uncertainty all the time. Big time. And there was never an aha moment. It's just more, my personality has always required that I have a lot of alone time, and being able to have a career where you're mostly in control of your environment and you don't have to interact with people on a daily basis. That's sort of one of the big motivators. Basically, the less I have to deal with people, the better. Although I like people, but just not while I'm working. Can't multitask very good. I really like being able to use my imagination to try to make a source of income. That's the goal, because people spend most of their waking hours working, so might as well try to do it with something that not only adds value to other people, but that you don't find too terrible. Although animation is very hard and it's not necessarily the funnest thing in the world, but being able to steer the ship and take something that's in your head and project it on a screen for other people to see, there's something that feels just so cool about that. So it is worth it, even though it's hard. Okay, this is from Ronald Rump. Do you have a ritual before you start working? I've had many different rituals. Growing up, when I was 5, I used to listen to Collective Soul, certain tracks from that, before I'd start my homeschooling. Like 5 through 8, I'd listen to different bands that I like before I'd start my homeschooling, and I'd beat up imaginary bad guys to the songs and make up music videos in my head. And then in high school, I'd always listen to Radiohead for like an hour before I'd start drawing. And as an adult now, I always eat breakfast and read for 45 minutes before I start drawing. But I don't have any like magical, super strict routine that I do. But I have just habits like reading when I wake up to get my brain going. Then I do a walk every day in the middle of the workday or at the end of the workday for about an hour. And I find that extremely helpful to get blood going to my brain so I don't get depressed just being sedentary. And it's just, humans aren't meant for that. We have to move. The Chosen One asks, what animation did you do that got you the most money or credibility by a big time art studio or company? I've never done anything for an art studio or company, mostly just music videos. But the biggest project, the most intense project I did was for Incubus over the summer, doing tour visuals. That was pretty intense, but a good learning experience. Golden Hog asks, would you ever make a live action video? I have lots of ideas. The thing though is working in real time with people. That'd be a whole new skill set to learn, because I'm not very good at thinking on my feet or telling people what to do. So, but I think anyone can learn how to do anything. I'm not making excuses for myself or saying that because I'm more introverted I wouldn't be able to learn that. There's lots of introverted leaders who manage people. It's just, it's just a different skill set. So I'm definitely open to doing live action, but I think the next step beyond music videos would be to make a legit short film animated, and then ultimately be really cool to do a feature-length animated film someday. But that again requires a lot of factors that are currently way out of reach. Lucas Morgan asks, how do you record and mix your music? Well, I record everything in Propellerhead Reason, and I mix everything in there as well. I do all the mixing on a pair of headphones for the most part, but I got a Rokit monitors to help balance out the mixing. But for the most part, I just have these headphones I've been using since 2011, and the labels smeared off because I've used them for so long, so I don't even remember what kind they are. They weren't super expensive, but mixing is hard because you never know what sound system someone's using, so the way it sounds to you is going to sound a little different to someone else. Kel of Kells asks, have you had any type of paranormal experience? Well, I suppose it would... Oh, that type of experience is largely dependent upon a person's susceptibility to believing in that type of thing. For instance, something that might just sound like a door closing in the night to me could be evidence of a ghost to someone who is more open-minded to that sort of thing. So I'm afraid I don't have any experiences. I think it'd be kind of fun if it was harmless. Make for a good story, make for a good answer. But unfortunately I don't have any good answers, so. Black Hood actually asks, why is the color of your avatar skin is purple? I don't know. Because I thought it looked cool. I don't know. I like weird colors. You know, like the characters on Doug. They're all colored weird and yeah. So that's the last question. Thanks for watching / listening. And I'll be back with more music videos, animation tutorials, and music. See ya.